Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing beautifully well. For today's valued viewer request, we've got from El Dudarino. In light of you guys doing a video on the F-20 Tiger Shark, that was a good video that was. How about doing a video on India's current lightweight fighter, the HAL Tejas, apparently Spanish for Texas. It's pretty slick, very small, lightweight, all good things that I like. Like a 21st century supersonic A4 Skyhawk almost. We've got a link here, but we've made our own presentation. So, HAL Tejas, first impressions. Mirage 2000 and sweet, looks pretty cool. So it's a very conventional layout. There's nothing that looks futuristic or 5th gen or stealthy or, you know, so I'm guessing it's going to be I should say at this point, we're learning it as we go. I don't know anything about this, as usual. I'm guessing it's going to be cheap Gen 4, not to say bad in any way, but, you know, cheap is good, fighter. When we look at this, we always like to look at contemporary. So what we're going to do is put it up against the JF-17 Thunder. This is Pakistan's. It's a JF-17 Thunder. I'm sure you know it, and it's in DCS, our simulator we use. So the HAL Tejas is an Indian single-engine, 4th generation multi-role light fighter designed by the Aeronautical Development Agency, ADA, in collaboration with Aircraft Research and Design Centre of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, for the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy. Okay. It came from the Light Combat Aircraft program, which began in the 1980s to replace India's aging MiG-21 fighters. In 2003, the LCA was officially named Tejas. It's the smallest and lightest in its class of contemporary supersonic combat aircraft. Production of the Tejas Mark I for the Indian Air Force began in 2016, so very, very modern. Production just begun. Wow. 2016, at which time the naval version was undergoing flight tests for the Indian Navy. The Tejas is a single-engine multi-role fighter which features a tailless compound delta wing, and it is designed with relaxed static stability for enhanced maneuverability. Originally intended to serve as an air superior... Really? Doesn't look like an air superiority aircraft. With a secondary ground attack role, its flexibility permits a variety of guided air-to-surface and anti-shipping weapons to be integrated for multi-role and multi-mission capabilities. The tailless compound delta platform is designed to be small and lightweight. This platform also minimises the control surfaces needed, permits carriage of a wider range of external stores, and confers better close combat, high speed, and high alpha angle of attack performance characteristics than comparable wing designs. The maximum payload capability of the Tejas is 5.3 metric tons. All weapons are carried on one or more of the 7 hardpoints with total capacity of greater than 4 tons, 3 stations under each wing and 1 on the under fuselage centerline. An 8th offset station behind the port side intake trunk can carry a variety of pods like FLIR IRST laser rangefinder designator, as can the centerline, under fuselage station and inboard pairs of wing stations. Auxiliary fuel tanks of 725, 800 and 1200 litres can be carried under the fuselage to extend range. An aerial refueling probe on the starboard side of the forward fuselage can further extend range and endurance. The BrahMos NG supersonic cruise missile, never heard of it, is being developed for the Tejas. Okay, we need to find out what that is. Stealth features have been designed into the Tejas. Being small provides an inherent degree of visual stealth. The airframe's high usage of composites, a Y-duct inlet which shields the engine compressor face from probing radar waves, and the application of radar absorbent material RAM coatings are intended to minimize its susceptibility to detection and tracking. Airframe Tejas is constructed of aluminium lithium alloys, carbon fiber composites and titanium alloys. Composite materials make up 45% of the airframe weight and 95% by surface area. Upper and lower wing skins are manufactured from single piece of carbon fiber reinforced polymer. Wing spars and ribs are also made out of carbon composites. Wow, how interesting is that? It's a bloody carbon fibre aeroplane. Avionics. The Tejas has a night vision goggles compatible glass cockpit, domestically developed heads-up display, 3 5x5. Wow, that's tiny. Look at how small that is. Can't be right. Inch multifunction displays, 2 smart standby display units, wherever they are, and a get you home panel with fail Operation Fail-Safe Air Data Computer ADC that uses computational intelligence based on auto land systems to provide the pilot with essential flight information in case of an emergency, and is connected with IAF ground station network to take over emergency controls of the unstable aircraft. Sounds really futuristic, but it's not. That was in planes in the 70s. The pilot interacts with the onboard systems through a multifunctional keyboard, UFC I guess, and several selection panels, the HUD, dash, helmet mounted display, and sight HMDS, with night vision goggles, compatible glass cockpit, as well as hands-off throttle and stick. All standard stuff. Reduce pilot workload, increase situational awareness by allowing access to navigation and weapons aiming information with minimal need to spend time head down. Okay, we've got some statistics next, and we will go and compare it to the Thunder because it just makes sense. And the Thunder is actually pretty impressive. In DCS, it's impressive. In real life, it's impressive. So, tiny 43 feet length as compared to the 49 feet of the JF-17. Wingspan only 26 feet. Wow. I know like a lot of warbirds that are bigger than that. Wingspan 31 feet on the JF-17. I like this little Indian fighter. It really turns me on. So small and nippy. I bet it's a dogfighter as well. Wing area of 413 square feet against 263 square feet. So it's got twice the wing area. Well, not quite. 60% more wing area than the Jeff. That's interesting when we come to look at wing loading. Empty weight, do that metric tons, 6.5 metric tons. That's awesome. That's my new plane. As opposed to Jeff, same, 6.5. Oh, it's the same as a Jeff. Gross weight, just under 10 metric tons. We don't have a gross weight of that plane. And max takeoff weight, 13.5 and 13.5 in the Jeff. So very similar to the Jeff, different wing loading. Fuel capacity, I'm just going to try and look at this. 5,500 pounds, or what we're used to working with. Internal, the Jeff internal, 5.1 thousand pounds. And we can extend with the drop tanks, which are going to be similar to the Jeffries drop tanks. Payload, 5.3 metric tons of stores, 4.6 metric tons of stores for the Jeffrey. Engine, very important. We've got is that General Electric? I think it is. A big designation there with afterburner of just over 20,000 pounds. Does anyone know if that's a... No, it's not. I thought it might be an F-18 engine if it's not. 20,000 pounds. And we've got the Jeffrey with, I've forgotten, with it's an RD or something from a thingy, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's an RD-93. With 19, so 1,000 pounds left, and a very smoky engine. The Jeff version is still going to be smoky. Maximum speed, for what it's worth. Maximum speed doesn't mean a lot for a 4th gen fighter, but out of interest, 1.6, and on the Jeffrey, 1.6. Although I've actually got it in 1.7 in our simulator, for what it's worth. Good. Range is 1,850 kilometers. Range, wow, a lot more. Assuming this is internal only, I don't really know, but it's a lot more on the Jeff at 2,500 kilometers, even with less fuel. Or maybe that is with the bags on. Let me know. I don't know how that's measured. Combat range is 300 kilometers, which is pretty measly. Oh, we think it does include tanks actually. Yeah, my bad. Combat range here. Well, there's a massive discrepancy here. Must be a mistake. Combat range for the Jeff, 1,300 kilometers. Combat range of the Tejas of 300 kilometers. Okay, I don't know. I'm just going to ignore them for now because I don't really know. Ferry range 3.2, ferry range 3.5. Some weird results there, and they may be measured differently. I don't have enough information of how these were all worked out. Service ceiling, 50,000 feet. Service ceiling, 55,000 feet. G loadings, +8, -3.5, +8, -3. Rate of climb, I always find fascinating and a really good teller of a good fighter. Rate of climb, 59,000 feet per minute is actually really good on the Jeff. Rate of climb, unfortunately we don't have here. I hate it when that happens, but that's the way it is. And the thrust away, take it with a pinch of salt because it could be taken from various different values, but 1.07 here. And 0.95 with the RD engine. It's heavier, this one, and makes less power. Armament. We know all about the armament of this one, so we're not going to go over it. But the Tejas can carry, oh great, air-to-air missiles, air-to-ground missiles. Well, that's a lot of use. Well, I don't know. It's got the same gun. The pylons are tandem pylons. Tandem pylon is longer than a conventional pylon and designed to carry more than one bombs in a single station, unlike conventional pylons that carry a single bomb only. This looks very kind of Jeff 17-ish, actually. So we've got a medium-range air-to-air missile. God, what's the... I'm having a brain block, guys. What do the Indian Air Force use as their medium and short-range missile? Is it Russian stuff? Because they're flying around in MiG-21s and flankers, aren't they? I remember last time I redid one of these fights. Yeah, Su-30s. And so they've got Alamos as their medium-range missile and things like that. And R-73s as their short-range missile. So there's probably an R-73 there, and until I'm told differently, I'm guessing it's Russian medium-range missiles there.
Yep, they're mostly using Su-30 stuff, so Russian missiles.
Okay, fuel tanks, bombs, LGB, laser-guided bombs. In terms of quantity and layout, it's actually pretty similar. Verdict: Tejas is developed with primary objective of replacing the MiG-21 and 27 Fleet of Indian Air Force and play the role of an interceptor with an air superiority capability. But it also has ground support and attack as well as an anti-ship capability. HAL Tejas is the world's smallest and lightest 4.5th gen combat aircraft. I like it. I really like it. It has a state-of-the-art design and flight control systems that maximizes the use of composites, which in the future of defense technology over metal. Tejas has high maneuverability and agility and can fire close combat air-to-air missiles, which are required for within visual range dogfight and combat. It can fire beyond visual range missiles, which is required for BVR combat. It can launch conventional laser-guided smart bombs and air-to-ground missiles, which are required for ground attack strike as well as anti-ship missiles. It can also carry multiple drop tanks and have an in-flight refueling feature, so capable of deep penetration, so it's a multi-role aircraft. It also designed to be compatible with diverse terrain and weather conditions in India and being equally efficient in very hot region like the desert or very cold region like the Himalayan range, or in different altitudes or different time, day and night. Tejas has performed without any problems in all conditions. More than 3,700 test flights and more than 4,000 operational flights with no accident or major problem. Some of the advanced technologies used are tailless, compound, delta wing and single monolithic honeycomb structure, tail fin design, blended wing body with 45% by weight and 90% by surface, advanced composite materials. Tejas has relaxed static stability. This is actually a highly unstable aircraft for giving it a high maneuverability and computed system. Fly-by-wire system gives it an artificial stability, so as a fighter it's easily maneuverable being unstable, but for a pilot it's beautifully stable and safe. I mean, it's typical for the type of aircraft, I suppose, that we fly nowadays. Quadruple digital fly-by-wire flight control system powered by digital flight computer. It's pretty standard. The control laws claw recover stability and provide nice handling qualities to the pilot. I'm not sure what that means. The claw is carefree and the computer limits the aircraft parameters automatically. If the pilot takes the fighter beyond its limit, the computer takes over and brings it down to safe level. That's why Tejas is very safe and alright with carefree handling. Sounds very Jeff 17. Open architecture. Computer powered glass cockpit with multifunctional display HUD and HMD. Advanced digitized utility and health management system. Whatever that means. Oh, okay, that's going to be maintenance of the aircraft. Multi-mode radar, with probably the usual modes that we're used to. It is designed to operate equally effectively in air-to-air and air-to-surface domains. It features multi-target tracking, air-to-air and specialized air-to-sea modes, so standard radar that we're used to. Electronic Warfare Suite. Tejas features integrated digital avionics suite. The mission computer MC can perform all the works of the mission-oriented computations, flight management, reconfiguration, redundancy management, in-flight systems and self-test, etc. All standard. The in-flight refueling probe. Cost. Tejas is designed and developed as a cheap fighter. Having all these capabilities, Tejas is still quite cheap. Each Tejas Mark 1 version costs only, wowza, $25 million. That is cheap, guys. Eurofighter is what, 100 million more now? 100 million? F-22 is $250 million, you know, depending who you speak to. 25 million. You could have a whole squadron of these. It looked like the jet is an excellent performer and reliable option for a cost-effective light fighter, but only time will tell. Okay, guys, let's start bringing you guys in. We're bringing the stream in now, so if you want to say something to stream, start putting your things in. My first impressions of it are that it's awesome. From what I've read about it, it seems very similar to the JF-17 in terms of its doctrine, in terms of in some ways its design. I know it doesn't look like it, but its intentions, its cost is similar. Its capabilities is, from what I can see, actually identical to the JF-17. There were some weird discrepancies with the range figures we got, but again, massive pinch of salt when it comes to looking at Wikipedia stats. Its kinematics are, from what I can see, really good. Power to weight ratio of 1.07, and I bet it's super, because of its size, I bet it's super maneuverable. What do you guys think of the HAL Tejas?
Just a bit more on the propulsion.
Mm-hmm.
The engine is actually the F-18 Hornet engine.
Oh, I thought I recognised that, but I just didn't think it could be true. But okay.
Yeah, the initial few that they made is using the same engine as the F-18.
Mm-hmm.
They are, at least from what I read here, is that they are actually planning to fit the later production models with the engine from the Super Hornet instead.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there was something about I wanted to check out about a type of missile, BrahMos NG supersonic cruise missile.
They were planning to make a naval variant, but they cancelled.
Okay. BrahMos designated PJ-10 as a medium-range ramjet supersonic cruise missile that can be launched from. So this is equivalent of similar to come on guys, Slam, yeah, I think 200 kilo warhead. So what kind of range is this? It's gonna be super long, isn't it? Let's have a look. Range. 500 kilometers. Wowza! So it's a modern cruise missile. So it can do. The thing about these tiny little cheap aircraft is they can do 99% of what the big F-18s, a big $120 million F-18 can do for a fraction of the price. I want it in DCS. I'm going to go shoot down the JF-17 Thunders, which I actually like as well. Obviously, it's very, very, very new. Roger, Swiss Links. Yeah, that was actually, yeah, I would agree with that.
A lot of Russian compatibilities, from what I see.
Any idea what? I mean, it doesn't say anything. It just says air-to-air missiles. Oh, here we go. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, right. Astra IR, Astra Mark 1, R-73. Yeah, R-77. So we've got the Russian missiles. Python, ASRAAM. Wow, there's a lot of stuff. Apparently, I know this is all. KH-59, guys. Yeah, that's a cool
old stuff, but
yeah. And radiation type.
And look at all the Russian bombs.
Anti-ship. KH-35, never heard of it. H-59 MK, it's bombs. Well, you got a mixture. You got NATO Paveway, and you got a cab Russian. It's one of these fighters that, if you fly the C-101 in DCS, because of reasons I don't truly understand, but it can carry Russian and French and non-French kind of NATO stuff. I found it absolutely fascinating that it can carry FABs, OFABs, cabs. These are all Russian old stuff. RBKs, Russian. Paveway, NATO. These, I don't even know who makes these, but Spice. That's a. Who makes Spice, guys? Is that the Indians that make it? And all these missiles from all sorts of different people. NATO, Russian, Python. I don't even know who makes this.
The 23mm twin barrel GSH-23 cannon, isn't that the same?
Yep, it is. It's in everything that is not.
Yeah.
Everything that's not NATO has the GSH-23 because A, they made millions of them. B, they're a really good cannon. Probably means it's not an air-to-air cannon like in the Thunder. You can technically use it in air-to-air, but you wouldn't ever want to. It's just not designed in any way to be used in air-to-air. So Python is Israeli. So again, you've got a mix of all sorts of different things there, which I guess is kind of cool because if you piss the wrong company, if you piss Russia off, then you can get your Israeli missiles. Or if you piss Israel off, you can get your French missiles or whatever. It must be a bit of a nightmare designing to handle all those different weapons though.
Yeah, it has a positive power to weight ratio as well. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Multi-role all-weather fire control. It's just got all your standard stuff. Doesn't appear to have IRST. We've got a good idea of what it can do, what it looks like, what it carries now. I think it's a cool little beast. I think it looks super sexy. Look at that. Imagine Supercap and his tiny little mini Mirage. Any other thoughts in writing or in the other ones, guys? Penguin says it looks like a trainer. Trainers look goofy. Trainers don't have this super cool nose and stuff. I think it looks awesome. You ain't going to pick me up with my tiny radar cross-section and this little beauty, I can tell you.
I mean, the fact that it's cheap as well, what do you say, around 25 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, they cancelled it because the Navy stated that the plane is overweight for their carrier operation.
Wow, they must have some pretty puny carriers, guys. Can't handle a 5-ton aircraft. Jesus.
Yeah, they're planning to include an IRST and the missile warning system.
You notice the leading edge slats are also separate and they go down by different amounts. I don't know if you can see that in my picture. Whereas often the leading edge slat is big and long, 1 piece. This is 3 piece and goes down, is actuated separately for reasons that I don't understand, but I found that interesting. Okay, guys, it's pretty cool. I'm going to sign off, guys. Thank you for your input and I'll see you guys later on.